Welcome to Learn English Speaking. Let's Talk Stories. Here we bring you amazing stories to improve your English fluency. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting lessons. Let's learn together.
Chapter 6 The White House. I was at the hospital for 2 months. After the first few weeks, my leg was getting better, and one day I went down into the little town, to the fish market. I bought some shrimps, and one of the cooks at the hospital cooked them for me. 2 days later, I went back to the fish market and talked to a man who was selling shrimps. "Where do you get them?" I asked him. He immediately started talking fast in a language that I couldn't understand. But he took me somewhere, past all the boats and the beach. There, he took a net and put it in the water. When he took it out again, it was full of shrimps. Every day for the next few weeks, I went with Mr. Chi, that was his name, and watched him while he worked. He showed me how to catch shrimps with the net, and it was so easy that an idiot was able to do it, which I did. Then one day, I got back to the hospital, and a Colonel Gooch said, "Gump, we're going back to America together. You're going to see the President of the United States, and he's going to give you a medal because you were very brave." There were about 2,000 people waiting for us at San Francisco Airport when we got off the plane. What a surprise! A lot of them had beards and long hair. I thought perhaps they were there to welcome us, but I was wrong. They were shouting unpleasant things. And then somebody threw a tomato at Colonel Gooch, and it hit him in the face. He tried to clean it off and not look angry, but I didn't want to wait for them to start throwing things at me. No, sir. I started running. The people ran after me, all 2,000 of them, but they couldn't catch me. I ran all round the airport, and then I ran into a toilet and locked the door. I waited in there for almost an hour before I came out again. I went to look for Colonel Gooch, and I found him in the middle of a group of policemen. He was looking very worried until he saw me. "Come on, Gump," he said. "The plane for Washington is waiting for us." The Army sent a car to meet us at Washington Airport, and we drove to a really nice hotel. After we put our suitcases in our rooms, the colonel asked me to go out to a bar with him for a drink. "People are different here," he told me. "They aren't like the people in California." He was wrong. When we got there, he bought me a beer, and he was telling me about the president and my medal when something happened. A pretty girl came up to our table, and the colonel thought she was a waitress. "Get us 2 more drinks, please," he said. She looked at him and said, "I won't get you anything. Not as much as a glass of warm river water, you pig." And then she looked at me and said, And how many babies have you killed today, you big ape? Well, after that, we went back to the hotel. Next morning, we got up early and went to the White House, where the president lives. It's a really pretty house with a big garden. A lot of army people were there, and they immediately started shaking my hand and telling me that I was a brave man and that they were pleased to meet me. The president was a great big old man who talked like somebody from Texas, and there were a lot of people standing round him in the flower garden. Then an army man started to read something, and everybody listened. Everybody but me, because I was hungry and wanted some breakfast. At last, the army man finished reading, and then the president came up and gave me the medal. After that, he began to shake my hand. I was just thinking of getting out of there and having some breakfast when the president said, "Boy, is that your stomach making that noise?" So I said, "Yes." And the president said, "Well, come on, boy. Let's go and get something to eat." And I followed him into the house, and a waiter got us some breakfast. The president asked me a lot of questions about Vietnam and the army, but I just said, "Yes, it's okay," or shook my head to say no. And after several minutes of this, we were both silent. "Do you want to watch TV?" the president asked suddenly. So, me and the President of America watched TV while I ate my breakfast. Later, when we were back in the garden, the president said, "You were hurt, weren't you, boy? Well, look at this." And he pulled up his shirt and showed me the place on his stomach where he was hurt once. "Where were you hurt?" he asked me. So I pulled down my trousers, turned round, and showed him. Well, lots of newspaper men started taking photographs before Colonel Gooch could run across and pull me away. That afternoon, back at the hotel, he came to my room shouting and throwing newspapers onto the bed. And there I was, on the front page, with my trousers down. "Gump, you idiot!" shouted Colonel Gooch. "Yes, sir," I said. "That's what I am. But I just try to do the right thing." End of CD 1. Chapter 7. Meeting Jenny Again. Soon after that, I heard that I was leaving the army early, and they gave me some money for a train ticket to go home. But all this time, I was thinking about Jenny Curran. Just before I left the hospital in Da Nang, I had a letter from her. She was now playing in a group called the Broken Eggs, and they played 2 nights each week at a place called the Ho Daddy Club near Harvard University. Now that I was free from the army, I just wanted to go and see her. So I got a ticket for Boston instead of Mobile. I tried to walk to the Ho Daddy Club from the train station, but I lost my way, so I took a taxi. It was in the afternoon, and the man behind the bar said, "Jenny'll be here about 9 o'clock." "Can I wait?" I asked. "Okay," he said. So I sat down and waited for 5 or 6 hours. Students began to come in, most of them wearing dirty jeans. The men had beards, and the women had long, untidy hair. Later, the group, the Broken Eggs, arrived, but I didn't see Jenny. Then they began to play, and they were loud. The music sounded like a plane that was taking off, but the students loved it. And then Jenny came on. She was different. Her hair was all the way down her back, and she was wearing sunglasses at night. She was wearing blue jeans and a shirt with lots of colors on it. The group started playing again, and Jenny began to sing. Later, I went outside and walked round for about half an hour, then went back. There were a lot of people waiting to go in, so I went round to the back of the place and sat on the ground. I had my harmonica in my pocket, so I took it out and started to play. I could hear the music that was playing inside, and after a minute or two, I began playing with it. Suddenly, a door behind me opened, and there was Jenny. "Who is that playing the harmonica?" she said, and then she saw me. "Forrest Gump!" And she ran out of the door and threw her arms round me. We talked together until it was time for her to sing again. "I didn't leave school," said Jenny. "They threw me out after they found a boy in my room one night. I went to California and stayed there for some time." She laughed. "I wore flowers in my hair and talked about love. But the people that I was with were strange. Then I met a man, and we came to Boston. But he was dangerous. He was against the war, like me, but he blew up buildings and things. I couldn't stay with him. Next, I met a teacher from Harvard University, but he was married. Then I began to sing with the Broken Eggs." "Where do you live?" I asked. "With my boyfriend," she said. "He's a student. You can come back and stay with us tonight." The boyfriend's name was Rudolph. He was a little man, and he was sitting on the floor with his eyes shut when we got to Jenny's flat. "Rudolph, this is Forrest," Jenny said. "He's a friend of mine from home, and he's going to stay with us for a few days." Rudolph didn't speak or open his eyes, but he put up his hand and smiled. Next morning, when I got up, Rudolph was still sitting on the floor with his eyes shut. That afternoon, Jenny took me to meet the other people in the group, and that night I began playing my harmonica with them at the Ho Daddy Club. It went well, and I played with them every night after that. Then one day, I came back to the flat, and Jenny was sitting on the floor. "Where's Rudolph?" I asked. "Gone," she said. Walked out like all the others. And then she started to cry. Don't cry, Jenny, I said, and I put my arm round her. Well, it started like that. But the next minute, we were kissing and making love. And when we finished, Jenny said, Forrest, where have you been all this time? Chapter 8. Into Space. Spring and summer went by, and I continued to play my harmonica with the group. It was my happiest time of all. But, you've guessed it, something went wrong. How did it happen? I don't know. But one night I was sitting outside the Ho-Daddy Club, smoking a cigarette, when a girl smiled and came up to me. She sat down across my legs and put her arms round me. She was laughing and kissing me, and I didn't know what to do. Suddenly, the door opened behind me, and there was Jenny. Forrest, it's time to... She stopped when she saw me with the girl. Then she said, Oh, no, not you, too. I jumped up and pushed the girl away. Jenny, I said. Stay away from me, Forrest, she said. You men are all the same. Just stay away from me. She didn't speak to me again that night, and the next morning she told me to find another place to live. I went to live with Moses, one of the other men in the group, and soon after that, Jenny went to Washington to talk and work against the war. Moses wrote down the address for me. So I went back to Washington too. There was a lot of trouble there. Police were everywhere, and people were shouting and throwing things, and the police were taking some of them away. I went to find Jenny's address, but there was nobody at home. I waited outside for most of the day. Then, at about 9 o'clock, a car stopped near the house, and some people got out. And there she was. I started to walk towards her, but she turned and walked away. The other people, 2 men and a girl, didn't know what to say. What's wrong with her? I asked one of the 2 men. She just got out of prison, he said. She was there all night before we could get her out. Jenny was in the back of the car now, so I went over and talked to her through the window. I told her how I felt. I was sorry about the girl, and I didn't want to play in the group without her. She listened quietly, then opened the car door for me to get in, and we sat and talked. The others were talking about something that would happen the next day. Some American soldiers planned to take off their Vietnam medals and throw them away in front of the crowds of people. Suddenly, Jenny said, Did you know that Forrest won a medal? The others went quiet and looked at me, then looked at Jenny. Next morning, Jenny came into the living room. I was sleeping on the floor of their house. She woke me up. Forrest, she said, I want you to do something for me. What? I said. I want you to come with us today, and I want you to wear your army clothes. Why? I asked. because you're going to do something to stop all the killing in Vietnam. You can guess what I had to do, can't you? I had to throw away my medal with the other American soldiers. But because my medal was a more famous medal than theirs, it was more important to Jenny and her friends. But it got me into more trouble. Oh, I threw my medal away okay, but it hit somebody really important, one of the president's men. So they threw me into prison. Why did things like that always happen to me? As it happened, I didn't stay in prison long, because they soon realized that I was an idiot, and they put me in a special hospital for idiots. It was the doctors at the hospital who decided to send me to NASA. That's the Space Center at Houston in Texas. You're just the kind of person they're looking for, the doctors told me. I soon understood why. NASA sent me on a journey into space with a woman and an ape. Me, a spaceman. It was very strange. All kinds of things went wrong because of that ape. Instead of coming down in the sea when we returned, the spaceship came down in the jungle somewhere, and it was 4 years before the NASA people found us. But the ape and I were soon good friends. His name was Sue. Yes, I know it's a girl's name, but they sent a male ape up by mistake, and NASA didn't like to tell the newspapers that. And it was in the jungle that I met Big Sam, a man who taught me to play chess, and that was important, as you will see later. Chapter 9. A Real Idiot. Of course, the first thing that I wanted to do when I got back to America was find Jenny. So I phoned Moses in Boston. The Broken Eggs group has broken up, he told me. I don't know what happened to Jenny. I heard that she went to Chicago, but that was 5 years ago. Do you have a telephone number or anything? I asked. It's an old number, he said, but perhaps she's still there. I phoned the number, and she wasn't. Jenny Curran? A man's voice said. She went to Indianapolis, got a job at the temporary factory. So I went to Indianapolis on the bus. The temporary factory was outside the town. I asked about Jenny at the office, and the woman said, Yes, she works in here. Why don't you wait at the side of the factory? It's almost lunchtime, and she'll probably come out. So I did. A lot of people came out at lunchtime. Then Jenny came out. She went and sat under a tree on the grass and began eating an apple. I went up behind her and said, That looks like a nice apple. She didn't look up. She just said, Forrest, it has to be you. A minute later, I had my arms round her, and we were both crying. People were watching us with strange looks on their faces, but it didn't matter. Jenny and me were together again. I finished work in 3 hours, Forrest, Jenny said. Why don't you wait for me in that bar across the street? Then I'll take you to my place." So I waited in the bar. And I got into the wrestling business. How? I'll tell you. It started when I arm wrestled a man in the bar and won some money on a bet. That gave me an idea. But at first, I didn't say anything to Jenny. She came across to the bar after work, and we had a drink and talked. "I saw you on TV when you went up into Space Forest," she said. And I told her all about that, and about Sue, the ape. "What happened to him?" she asked. "I don't know," I said, "but he was a good friend." Later, we went back to Jenny's flat, and she said, "You can stay here." Next day, when Jenny went to work, I went back to the bar. Several people wanted to try arm wrestling with me again, and I said, okay. None of them won because I was too strong, but plenty of people wanted to try their luck. After about a month, I was winning nearly $200 a week arm wrestling. Then one day, a man called Mike came into the bar. "You can make a lot more money," he told me. "How?" I asked. "Wrestling. Real wrestling," he said. "I can teach you." To make a long story short, he did. Jenny wasn't happy about the wrestling, but I won a lot of money. Sometimes by winning fights, sometimes by losing them, because Mike told me to lose them. Yes, that happens too. But then I did something stupid again. I bet on myself winning a fight after Mike told me to lose it. Jenny got really angry. "It isn't honest," she said. I didn't listen. I bet all my money on myself to win, and then I lost the fight. But there was worse to come. When I got back to the flat, Jenny was gone, and there was a letter waiting for me. It said, "Dear Forrest, you're doing something bad tonight. It isn't honest, and I cannot go on with you like this. I think about having a house and a family and things like that now. I watched you grow up big and strong and good, and then in Boston, I realized that I loved you, and I was the happiest girl in the world. But then there was that girl outside the Hodaddy Club. Then you went up into space, and I lost you for 4 years. And I think you changed. And I think perhaps I changed too. I just want to live in an ordinary way now, so I must go and find it. I'm crying while I write this, but please don't try to find me. Goodbye, my dear. Love, Jenny." And for the first time ever, I knew that I was a real idiot. Chapter 10. Money for Playing Games. I decided to go home to Mobile, but the bus stopped at Nashville on the way, and I went into town for a drink and something to eat. I was going past the hotel when I looked in the window and saw some people who were playing chess. Like I said before, Big Sam taught me how to play chess when I was in the jungle. Well, I went into the hotel to watch them, but it was a special chess tournament, and it cost $5 to watch, so I didn't go into the chess room. I was just walking out again when I saw a little old man who was playing chess with himself at a table near the door. I had another hour before I had to catch the bus again, so I went across and watched him. Then I said, "If you make that move, you'll lose your queen." He didn't look up, but after a minute, he said, "Perhaps you're right." It was time for me to get back to the bus station, but when I started to leave, the old man said, "Why don't you sit down and finish this game with me?" "I can't," I said. "I have to catch a bus." So he waved at me with his hand, and I went back to the bus station. But I missed the bus that evening, and there wasn't another one until the next day. So I walked back to the hotel, and there was the little old man, still playing against himself. He looked up and saw me, and told me to sit down. It took me an hour to win that chess game. "Just who are you?" he said after the game. "Forrest Gump," I said. "Where did you learn to play chess?" he asked. "In the jungle," I told him. He looked surprised. "Aren't you in the tournament?" he asked. "No," I told him. "I'm going home, and I'm going to start a shrimp business." "You can make a lot of money from chess," he said. "You're very good." "Am I?" I said. The old man's name was Mr. Tribble. 2 days later, we were on our way to Los Angeles to a big chess tournament. We were a day or two early for the tournament, and Mr. Tribble took me to see some people who were making a film. They make a lot of films in Los Angeles. We were watching a man who was crashing through a window in a film fight when a man walked over to us. "Are you an actor?" he asked me. "Who, me?" I said. "We're here for the chess tournament," said Mr. Tribble. But the other man was looking at me. "You are a big, strong man, aren't you?" he said. "You're just what I need for a film that I'm making. My name is Felder." "He has to play chess in a tournament tomorrow," said Mr. Tribble. "He hasn't got time to be an actor." "It won't take long," said Mr. Felder. So we went with Mr. Felder, and I found myself acting in a film about the jungle with Raquel Welch, the famous film star. "Is that really Raquel Welch?" I asked Mr. Felder. But things did not go well. Somehow, when I was helping Miss Welch to escape from the jungle, her dress came off, and I had to run into the trees to hide her. But who do you think we met there? Sue, the ape. He was in another film. The three of us ran out of there fast, and Miss Welch shouted and screamed. No, things didn't go very well. I wasn't an actor for very long. I think Mr. Tribble was secretly pleased. I was pleased because I was back with Sue again. Back at our hotel, the three of us sat in our room and tried to decide what to do. "It's going to be difficult traveling with an ape," said Mr. Tribble. "He won't be any trouble, Mr. Tribble," I said. But Mr. Tribble seemed worried. Next day was the big chess tournament at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Mr. Tribble and I got there early, and I had to play chess all day. It took me about 7 minutes to win the first game, and half an hour to win the next. I played all that day and the next, and suddenly I was in the final, playing with a Russian, Honest Ivan, the best player in the world. He was a big man with long black hair, and he didn't want to lose. It was a long game. Honest Ivan was good, very good. But just when Honest Ivan seemed to be winning, Sue ran across the room and jumped onto the chess table. Honest Ivan fell off his chair, and everybody started screaming and running everywhere. "Let's get out of here, Forrest!" shouted Mr. Tribble. We got back to the hotel and hurried up to our room. "Forrest," said Mr. Tribble, "you're a wonderful chess player, but I never know what's going to happen next. Here's half of the money that you've won. It's almost $5,000. Take Sue back to Alabama with you and start your shrimp business." He shook my hand and gave me his address. "Write to me sometimes, Forrest. Good luck."